Nothing outside of you is blocking you. Everything that seems to be holding you back is just a reflection of the frequency you still hold within. The truth is, you're not fighting the world, you're trying to awaken within it. The quantum field responds to your identity, not your desires. And as long as you continue vibrating from your old self, you will continue recreating the same realities, the same people, the same pain. But there is a point where everything changes, when you stop trying to manifest and start embodying the Creator's frequency. This is the moment when the universe begins to rearrange itself around you, because you have changed inside. In this video, you will understand how to activate the quantum field inside of Yes and collapse the old identity so that reality aligns with your new vibration, not as theory, but as lived experience. If you feel like there's something bigger inside you trying to emerge, stay until the end, because I'm going to show you how to awaken the Creator that's always been there, just waiting for you to remember who you really are. You know, there's a version of you that already lives everything you dream of achieving. It's not a poetic metaphor, it's a vibrational reality. This version already exists, just at a frequency you may not yet sustain consistently. It's like a radio. The signal is on the air, but to hear the music you need to tune in to the right station. The problem is that many people want to change the music, but they keep turning the same knob, stuck in the same vibrational range. And the quantum field, this ocean of infinite possibilities, responds precisely to the frequency you're emitting now, not the one you'd like to emit. When you understand this, something inside you changes, because you stop searching for what's missing and start accessing what already is. It's an internal movement, almost silent, but one that completely transforms how you approach life. It's not about positive thinking or repeating automatic affirmations. It's about deciding who you are in this moment, maintaining that decision even when nothing seems to be happening. The vibration of I am is infinitely more powerful than the desire of I want. Think of it this way. Every time you say, I want to prosper, the field understands that you're not yet prosperous and keeps you in this frequency of lack. But when you change the question to, how do I act, behave, and feel as the version of myself that is already prosperous, the game changes. You begin to align with the vibration of what is already yours. It was just out of tune. This is where entanglement occurs. You and your expanded self begin to recognize each other as if exchanging silent signals in the fabric of the universe. And the curious thing is that in this process, it's not the universe that needs to give you something, it's you who needs to release what's blocking the flow. Your energy field is like a living antenna. It constantly sends and receives. When you change who you are, the signal changes automatically. And this change doesn't require effort. It happens through coherence. You're not creating a new version. You're remembering one that has always existed, just waiting for your yes to manifest. And as you begin to recognize this connection, a powerful insight emerges. Perhaps it's not life that's taking so long, but your identity still vibrating in the old pattern. This is where true transformation begins to unfold. When you realize that the energy that keeps you trapped in scarcity, doubt, or waiting is the same energy that can free you, you just have to learn to redirect it. Often what we call a block isn't an external obstacle. it's an internal reflection. It's the energy of an old identity still in control, subtly repeating the same patterns. I can't, I'm not ready yet. Maybe someday. And the curious thing is that the more you try to force change from the outside in, the more this pattern strengthens. Because the quantum field doesn't respond to words or wishes, it responds to the vibration of your state of being. It's your state, not your intentions, that creates the field in which life unfolds. Think about how many times you've known exactly what you needed to do, but something inside you paralyzed you. That voice that doubts, that procrastinates, that postpones action is an ancient part trying to keep you safe within the known. It's not the enemy, it's just an outdated frequency. The problem is when you start to identify with that part and believe it is you, then the flow stops. Because the field can only reflect what you believe to be true about yourself. Stagnation, in fact, is a sign that there's a dissonance between what you feel and what you vibrate. You want to move forward, but you vibrate fear. You want to change, but you carry guilt. You want to flow, but you keep explaining yourself to the past. The mind tries to think differently, but the body still holds the emotional memories of the old identity. And while the body vibrates the old code, reality continues to mirror the same story with new characters, but the same plot. The real shift happens when you understand that changing your state is more important than changing your thinking. Because your state is the gateway. When you change your state, your breathing, your posture, your internal rhythm, your body sends a new signal to the field. It's like rebooting your energy system. And this shift begins the moment you stop fighting doubt and start observing it consciously. By observing, you stop being it. And by ceasing to be it, the flow starts moving again. And it is at this point that the awakening of quantum perception begins. The moment you understand that you are not a hostage to your mind, but an observer of the energy it projects. This is where the entanglement between you and your versions becomes conscious, and where you can truly begin to choose which frequency you will sustain. Because the quantum leap is not about escaping who you were, but about recalibrating who you are now. Quantum entanglement is one of the most fascinating phenomena physics has ever revealed, and curiously, it mirrors exactly what happens within us. Imagine two particles separated by kilometers, yet they still react instantly to each other. The same thing happens between you and your infinite possible versions. Every thought, every emotion, every micro-decision vibrates at a frequency that tunes into one of these versions. Quantum entanglement isn't about going from point A to point B. It's about switching vibrational stations, changing the reality you access without taking a single step in space. But the leap doesn't happen by luck or coincidence. It's a direct consequence of an internal recalibration. When you shift your vibrational field, and this includes your emotions, your habits, and what you tolerate, you alter your energetic intertwining with certain realities. It's as if you stop being available to a version of yourself that lives in scarcity and start aligning with the version that lives in plenitude. And the most beautiful thing is that the universe responds instantly, not with applause, but with mirrors. People, situations, and synchronicities begin to reflect the new code you're holding. Many people confuse a quantum leap with manifesting something suddenly, but in reality, the leap is silent. It happens the instant you feel you are already what you were previously seeking. It's that moment when the search ceases and an inexplicable calm emerges, as if you finally stopped chasing the butterfly and let it land on you. Your old identity dissolves and you begin operating from a completely new vibration, even if nothing visible has changed yet. The field recognizes your new state and begins to reorganize everything around you. Think about how many times you've changed your life without changing your address. Sometimes all it takes is a silent decision. I'm not this version of myself who lives in fear anymore, and everything starts to reorganize. Friends drift away, opportunities appear, patterns break. It's not magic, it's coherence. Because the energy you sustain becomes incompatible with what doesn't resonate with it. It's the universe reordering itself in response to your new vibrational signature. The quantum leap is the natural effect of this conscious choice to be different, not just to think differently. And when this recalibration happens, you begin to feel something curious. Time seems to bend, and things flow more naturally. It's as if the universe adjusts to your new field. This feeling of lightness doesn't come from outside. It comes from the harmony between you and the quantum flow. And it is precisely this vibrational coherence that paves the way for understanding the nature of time and perceiving how your future self is already communicating with you. Right now, time, as most people perceive it, is a line past, present, and future. But in reality, it's more like a field of overlapping layers coexisting in the now. Each version of you, the one still seeking, the one already achieved, the one who's given up, the one who's healed, is happening simultaneously at different frequencies. And what determines which of these versions you access is the vibrational coherence you sustain. When your internal state aligns with the vibration of your future self, you tune into that reality, and it begins to transmit back signals, intuitions, and synchronicities. That's why you sometimes feel that sudden urge to act, or an unexpected clarity that seems to come from nowhere. It's no coincidence. It's interdimensional communication with your own expanded consciousness. Your future self is already guiding you, sending subtle instructions through the language of energy. But to hear them, you must silence the noise of effort, because the quantum field doesn't respond to trying, it responds to being. It's when you relax into being that the field begins to move toward you. The linear mind tries to control time. It wants to anticipate, understand, plan. But the quantum field moves through coherence, not logic. You can spend years imagining a future, but if you vibrate fear or doubt, you're tuning into another temporal layer. This is why excessive effort, wanting too much, trying to force the flow, end up creating resistance. What manifests realities is not desire, but the congruence between what you feel, think, and do. Coherence is the key that opens the door between times. A simple example: when you remember something from the past with emotion, you literally reopen that timeline within you. Your body relives the event as if it were happening now. The same goes for the future. When you fully feel the vibration of what you want to experience, you activate that timeline in the present. It's not about imagining it strongly. It's about feeling it truly. It's when your body believes before your eyes see it that the field responds. And that's when the miracle begins to feel natural. Over time, you'll realize you don't need to chase anything. You just need to align with the flow of your own expanded self. This coherence creates a kind of vibrational bridge between who you are and who you are becoming. And this bridge is built with awareness, presence, and surrender. Because before any method, awakening happens when you ask yourself, who am I now? And it is precisely this question that opens the portal to true inner transformation. It all starts with awareness. And curiously, it never arrives like a thunderclap, but like a whisper. It's that moment when you feel, deep down, that something inside you no longer fits, that the character you've been playing no longer supports the truth of what vibrates within. Awareness is the point where the autopilot slows down, and you finally see what previously went unnoticed. Asking, who am I now, is a simple yet radical gesture, because every time you ask this question sincerely, something in your field begins to reorganize. Most people want to evolve, but they don't want to let go of the version of themselves that keeps them safe. This is the great illusion, believing that you can be born into the new without allowing the old to fade. The process of awakening requires courage not to fight, but to let go. It's looking at the beliefs that still define you and realizing that at one point they were useful, but now they weigh you down. That the fear that once protected you now imprisons you. Consciousness doesn't judge, it only illuminates. And when the light enters, what is false naturally dissolves. Sometimes this moment of awakening comes through pain, loss, and silence. These are situations that seem to tear us off the ground, but in reality, they're freeing us from what we no longer are. It's the universe reorganizing its field so that the new frequency can emerge. But you have to be willing to see, and that's the tricky part. Because looking at yourself without masks is like undressing before the mirror of your soul. Uncomfortable, but liberating. That's when you begin to realize how many layers of yourself were still sustaining the old pattern. Asking yourself, what beliefs are active in me right now, is an exercise in power, because the moment you recognize them, they cease to secretly command you. You may realize you carry the fear of not being enough, of losing, of being rejected. That's okay. Consciousness doesn't ask you to eliminate the fear, but to see it clearly, and, in seeing it, to reclaim the energy that was trapped within it. It's the conscious gaze that breaks the spell of identification. And in that moment, something inside you breathes more easily, as if to say, so that was all there was to it. And it is precisely in this pause between what dies and what is yet to be born that true power reveals itself. When you are no longer in a rush to be someone, the field begins to open to new possibilities of identity. And it is in this sacred space, between the old and the new, that the method that transforms consciousness into movement is born a process that begins with witnessing, deepens in the cut, and materializes in the embodiment of the new frequency. The first step in this process is witnessing. And witnessing isn't analyzing, it's observing with presence. It's looking at the old self without accusing, without trying to fix it, simply recognizing the role it has played up to this point. It was the result of the belief you inherited, the pain that shaped you, and the experiences that taught you how to survive. When you observe it with compassion, the energy that was trapped in that pattern begins to dissolve. Because everything seen with awareness no longer has the same power over you. The second movement is cutting. And here, it's not about fighting who you were, but declaring, "This is no longer who I am." This simple phrase has immense vibrational power because the field understands when you decide to end a cycle. Cutting is removing the energy that fueled the old identity. It's saying thank you and releasing. Sometimes cutting is silent, it's simply an internal choice. Other times it's practical, changing a habit, ending a bond, stopping repeating a thought. Cutting is the bridge between what you understand and what you vibrate. And then comes the third movement, embodiment. This is where transformation leaves the realm of ideas and becomes a living presence. Embodying is acting as who you've decided to be, even if the world hasn't yet recognized it. It's adjusting your posture, your gaze, your way of moving. It's deciding what you tolerate and what no longer vibrates with the new frequency. There's no rush, there's coherence. Every small action that resonates with the new identity strengthens the new field, and the universe responds, not to desire, but to the stable vibration of that decision. Many people try to jump straight to embodiment without going through witnessing and cutting, and that's why the new pattern doesn't hold up. Because the body still vibrates the old code, the emotions still repeat the old script. When you honor the process, each step integrates naturally. Witnessing clears the field, cutting redefines the boundaries, and embodiment anchors the new frequency in the physical body. And that's when transformation ceases to be a concept and becomes a constant presence, something you and not something you try to maintain. And as this new identity begins to stabilize, something interesting happens. The universe begins to test its coherence. Old situations may reappear not to punish you, but to confirm you. It's the field symbolically asking you, have you really become who you said you are? And it's at this point that many people feel the discomfort of transition, the famous void between realities, a space where the old still echoes, but the new is already emerging. After the leap, the field begins to reorganize, and this reorganization isn't always smooth. It's like when you change the tuning of a radio station. For a few moments, there's noise, interference, instability. The same happens with your energy. After choosing a new identity, everything that was out of sync with it begins to reveal itself. People move away, opportunities change shape, and even your physical body reacts. You feel tired, restless, or euphoric. This is the natural process of recalibration, the field clearing away excess from the old pattern to stabilize the new code. These sensations are often confusing. It's common to think something went wrong or that the leap didn't work. But the discomfort is actually a sign that the system is reorganizing itself. It's like a computer that needs to reboot to install a new update. The old vibration tries to resist, but it no longer has the same strength. You may even feel the echo of old emotions, guilt, doubt, fear, as if they were phantom frequencies. These aren't throwbacks. They're just energetic memories leaving your field. The important thing is not to identify with them. During this phase, silence is a powerful ally. External noise tends to pull you back into the old pattern, while silence anchors you in the new. Recalibration requires presence. It's in the space between one thought and the next that you notice the new you consolidating. Sometimes the field seems stagnant, but in fact it's realigning paths, undoing invisible ties. When you trust this process, discomfort transforms into a sign of expansion. It's the old identity fragmenting so a new one can emerge. This process can also be reflected in relationships. Suddenly, you start to feel that certain environments drain you, or that some conversations lose their meaning. This isn't arrogance, it's resonance. The old energy becomes incompatible with the new vibration, and the separation, as strange as it may seem, is the field reorganizing its network of connections. People and experiences that still vibrate at the new frequency begin to naturally draw closer. It's the universe adjusting the orchestra of your reality. And when you understand that discomfort is part of rebirth, everything changes. You stop fighting the process and begin to cooperate with it. The old energy leaves, and the inner space begins to open for the new pattern to stabilize. It's at this point that you understand there is no going back, only expansion. And it is precisely through consistency in small gestures and daily choices that this new identity begins to gain strength and vibrational stability. Stability is not rigidity. It is continuous presence. It is not built with a cry of force, but in the silence of coherent repetition. The new identity does not need to be sustained with effort, but with consistency. It is the small decisions of the day, those that almost go unnoticed, that keep the vibration stable. It is when you choose to breathe instead of react, observe instead of defend, trust instead of control. It is in these micro gestures that the energy of the new version consolidates, little by little, until it becomes natural. The mind wants immediate results, but the quantum field responds to the rhythm of coherence. Consistency is what teaches the universe about who you truly are. If you connect with the new state today and return to the old tomorrow, the field doesn't understand your signal. But when you maintain the same vibration, even in the face of fear or doubt, the universe recognizes the frequency and amplifies it. It's not about perfection, but about presence, returning to center every time you leave it. This is how energy anchors. Think of a plant. You don't force it to grow, you just ensure it receives light and water. Consistency does the same for your field. Each aligned choice is like a drop of energy that nourishes the new identity. Even when it seems like nothing is happening, the growth is there, invisible, silent, profound. And one day, without warning, the new you blossoms naturally, as if it had always been there. This is the magic of consistency. It transforms the invisible into the tangible, the potential into presence. But make no mistake, doubt will continue to visit you. Fear will too. They're part of the process. The difference is that now you no longer identify with them. You embrace them, but don't feed them. Strength lies not in never feeling fear, but in remaining consistent even when it appears. That's when the energy solidifies, when the new pattern becomes unshakable. Each time you choose to act as who you already are, the old vibration loses ground and the new one strengthens. And it's in this constancy that the field begins to completely reorganize itself. You realize you don't need to chase results. They begin to find you. Reality changes because your field has stabilized. What was once effort becomes flow. And little by little, you feel the old pattern disappear, not because you fought it, but because it simply ceased to exist within you. And when this energy stabilizes, something quietly shifts. Effort gives way to naturalness. and living becomes a spontaneous expression of your own essence. As time passes, something very subtle begins to happen. What once destabilized you no longer reaches you with the same force. Old patterns simply lose their magnetism. They may even try to grab your attention, but you no longer vibrate at the frequency that kept them alive. It's as if the old script still exists, but the main actor has changed, and without your energy, the play ceases to be performed. This is true liberation, realizing that there is nothing to overcome, only something that no longer makes sense. As your new identity takes hold, reality responds naturally. You begin to attract situations, people, and opportunities that reflect your new state of being. The quantum field reorganizes everything, not by miracle, but by correspondence. It's simple. When you stop sustaining the vibration of need, the universe no longer finds that field within you to connect with. And little by little, life takes on a different tone lighter, more coherent, more yours. Synchronicity becomes the language with which the universe responds to you. The interesting thing is that this shift is rarely accompanied by euphoria. It manifests itself in calm, in silence where there was once anxiety, in clarity where there was once confusion. It's the sign that your energetic system has found stability. What once required effort now flows naturally, because you've stopped trying to maintain the new and have simply become the new. Coherence ceases to be a practice and becomes a state. And in this state, what is not true dissolves without resistance. You also realize that old triggers don't disappear completely. They just lose importance. They may even appear, but now you observe them from a different place, with a different awareness. It's as if the old you still whispers, but your vibration is so high that the sound no longer reaches you. Detachment isn't rejection, it's transcendence. It's when you understand that you don't need to deny who you were, but you also no longer need to carry what doesn't resonate with who you are today. And then effortlessly you realize that the reality around you bends to your new inner state. The world changes not because you control it, but because you reflect it. The expansion of consciousness is not an event, it is a way of being. When you live in coherence, the field responds harmoniously, and the Creator within you awakens, not as someone who wants to transform the world, but as someone who finally remembers the world has always been an extension of your own vibration. Entanglement has always been active. It never needed to be created, only recognized. Everything you seek already vibrates within you, and the more you become the signal, the more reality responds with quantum precision. The leap doesn't happen in a magical instant. It happens when you begin to live what you understand, when every thought, emotion, and choice aligns with the frequency of what you desire to be. So don't wait for the universe to show you a sign. It is the signal. Don't expect anything to change outside. Change inside. The coherence between what you feel, think, and do is the true portal. If this message resonated with you, like this video, share it with others who are also awakening, and subscribe, because here, every week, I guide you back to the center of your power. Until next time, Quantum Traveler, I am just the messenger, but the message is yours to convey.